Hi, it's Penny and it is currently 1:30 in the morning and I finally got him off to sleep. He is 4.5 weeks old, and just amazing. I just love him so much. I want to do a labour and delivery story. I've totally given up on the idea of doing it when I'm looking half decent and, you know, editing it and things, because it's just not going to happen, and it hasn't happened so far, so I've just given up on that idea. So I went in for a scan at 38 weeks because I think it's called fundus height, or I'm not sure, anyway, like I was measuring quite small. So my midwife booked me in for a scan, and he was measuring small. His waist circumference, his femur length and his arm lengths were in the 5th percentile, or below the 5th percentile, and he just wasn't growing at the rate that they would have liked. So that was on the Tuesday that I had the scan. On the Wednesday morning I got a call saying, come to the hospital, we're going to induce you, which was such a scary thought. Like, I never in a million years would have thought that I would be induced. So I went into the hospital and they checked me, and I was already 2 centimetres, and that night I had had heaps and heaps and heaps of Braxton Hicks contractions, just heaps of tightenings, and so I think I was sort of on my way into labour anyway. I think the hospital, the maternity ward was really busy that day, so they didn't induce me then. They sent me home and told me to come back on Thursday morning, so I did that, and went in at 7:30. About 8 o'clock I was seen by the doctors, and they gave my midwife the all clear to start the induction. So they checked me and I was still 2 centimetres dilated, but that night I hadn't had any contractions or anything like that. And they gave me the prostaglandin gel. They inserted the prostaglandin gel, and nothing happened. I didn't feel any different. No Braxton Hicks contractions, no contractions at all, no tightenings, nothing. Me and Nick were just sort of wandering around the hospital. We went to the cafe, got a coffee. Well, he got a coffee, I got a hot chocolate. Nothing, just nothing. At 3 o'clock they broke my waters. At 3 o'clock they checked me and I was 4 centimetres dilated. So even though I hadn't felt anything, I was, you know, my cervix was dilating. And I think I was almost completely thinned out. And within 5 minutes I had my very first contraction, and it was painful. It was yeah, really, really painful. A lot worse than I would have expected for my first contraction. And it was pretty much all on from there. In the particular hospital that I delivered at, you sort of go into like a pre-delivery room first, which is kind of smaller, and then you go into your bigger delivery room where, you know, you've got your own big bathroom with a shower, and you have the option to have a birthing pool, which I couldn't have because I was being induced and because he was considered, you know, not high risk, but moderate. I don't know. I had to be monitored anyway the whole time, which is kind of dumb. so I had to be on the bed and had to have the things stripped on my tummy and that. So at that stage I think my contractions were about 10 minutes apart, but they didn't stay that way for very long, and they very quickly got closer and closer together and a lot stronger. So I think probably within 15 minutes they took me down to my delivery room, and by this stage, like, I went to the toilet and then came out, and I was screaming. Like, I was in so much pain. And half an hour after they broke my waters, so at 3:45, they checked me again and I was 7 centimetres. So from 3:15 when they broke my waters to 3:45, I had progressed 3 centimetres. At this stage, I was screaming down the whole hospital. I was in so much pain. My contractions were on top of each other. I didn't get a break between contractions. And my midwife was kind of worried because I had this sort of pain between contractions. So a couple of doctors came in and they were monitoring me. They gave me fluids, and I was like begging for an epidural. I really didn't want one, but I was my birth plan. In my birth plan, I wanted a water birth. I didn't. But I couldn't have that, obviously. So at this stage, I was begging for an epidural. But my midwife was like, "There's just not going to be time. Your baby's going to be here before the anaesthetists." And I was so upset. And I have to say, at this stage of labour was probably the worst for me, and I don't think anything could have prepared me for it, to be honest. But at this stage, my memory is sort of a little bit foggy because, it was just really intense, and I don't remember a whole lot. All I know is that he was born at 10 to 5 on the 23rd. 25, so 4:50 p.m. on the 23rd of June. And I was pushing for about 15 minutes before he came out, and I think for me the pushing was probably the best part of the whole thing. I think the pain sort of changes, and I felt like I could direct the pain somewhere, like I could push away the pain, if that makes sense. So it made the whole situation a lot more bearable. So I was pushing for 15 minutes and he was born, so my whole labour was an hour. Well, from the time they broke my water, when I started actually contracting, was an hour 45. Hour 45, hour 40, something around there anyway. And he was born at 6 pounds 2 ounces, and he was just perfect. I can remember after he was born I went into shock because it just happened, everything happened so quickly, and I started shaking, and they put him on my chest, and I think I just didn't really know what to do. Like, I was kind of just like staring at him, wondering like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened, type thing. I did have a tear, and it wasn't my perineum, it was my labia, so it was kind of on the side, and I had to have 3 stitches. So my midwife stitched me up. yeah, and then we just sort of chilled out for about an hour, skin to skin, and then midwife came back in, and then we got him to latch on, and he latched on awesome. You know, he had a great sucking reflex, which he still has. It sucks nice and hard. Yeah, so I'm going to do a separate breastfeeding update because we had a bit of trouble breastfeeding, but we're sort of getting there now. But I'll do that in another video. Alright, that's it. I'll talk to you later. Bye.